everyone, welcome back to my vlog channel. So today's video is going to be all about how I clean my brushes. There are lots and lots of different ways you can clean your brushes, and if you want to see the different ways you can clean them, just Google it or YouTube it and you will find many other videos. But my way of doing it has worked for me for a long time, so I'm more than happy to share my techniques with you. This is what I have been using for the past couple of weeks or months actually to wash my brushes. This is from Makeup Store, and it is called their Home Spa Brush Cleansing Soap. So it's really straightforward. All you do is pop off the little lid and then you've got the bar of soap inside. Now I am aware that not everyone has access to Makeup Store, so if you don't, you can also grab the Palmolive Soft Wash Antibacterial Hand Soap. So this is probably the best bet if you are on a budget. This has worked great for me for ages, and the reason I actually started using this was because when I worked at Benefit and Bobbi Brown, all of the girls from MAC used to use this to wash their brushes, so it's got to be good if they're using it on their brushes. Another alternative is the Bobbi Brown Conditioning Brush Cleanser. This I bought from Bobbi when I was working there, and it washes my brushes just as well as all of the other products. It's just a little bit more expensive, so if you are a loyal Bobbi customer, definitely try this out, but if you do want to save some money, you may as well just go for the Palmolive one. Okay, so let's get started. Now the first most important rule when it comes to washing your brushes is to never ever let the water get past this little silver line here. This little silver bit here is called the ferrule or not too sure how to pronounce that one, so let's just pretend that I pronounced it right. But yeah, never let the water go past this line here, because as soon as the water gets in the little ferrule thing, the water makes contact with the glue that holds all of the bristles in place, and once the glue has been weakened, all of your bristles will fall out and your brush will shed like crazy and you will have a useless brush. So I'm just going to turn the tap on, and I'm going to put it in the middle, which means that it will be warm. I prefer to wash my brushes in warm water, definitely not hot water because I don't want to damage the bristles, and not cold water because things tend to get more thoroughly cleansed if the water is warm. So all you need to do is submerge your brush head in water, and as you can see, the water is only going up to about this point here, which is just nice and safe. What I also like to do is grab the lid from that Makeup Store soap, fill it up with water like so, and then dip the brush head in the little lid like so, just so that the brush head is completely saturated with water. Once that is wet, I'm going to grab this soap and then simply go like this and swirl the brush head on the soap. I love this method, using this soap, because it's honestly just the quickest way to wash my brushes. Then I've got my hand and I'm going to swirl the brush head over my fingers. I prefer using my fingers because there is a bumpy surface which creates more friction against the brush head. As you can see, this brush is actually quite clean because the soap is pretty much white. Just going to swirl it like that, rinse off my hand, and then rinse off the head of the brush. And I also like to swirl it on my hands once I've rinsed it as well. I'm going to grab this little dish and submerge the brush head in the water so that I can guarantee that all of the soap is out of the brush head. Now that that's clean, I'm going to squeeze out any of the water from the brush. Then I'm going to dry my brush on my towel just a little bit, just to get rid of any of the excess water. Then I'm also going to grab the towel and squeeze any of that water out again. Then I'm just going to sit it off the edge of the towel like this. I'll explain why I lay them down like this once I've finished washing the rest of my brushes. Another tip is to never ever turn your brush vertical. So it's facing downwards at the moment, this one here is. Never ever go like this when the brush is wet, because all of the glue is going to drip down here and mess up your bristles and your brush will shed. So always keep the brush facing downwards so that the water is, running out of the brush. Then I'm just going to place these two brushes horizontally off the edge of the counter. I do this because if you lay your brush flat against the counter, it's harder for the air to get in and around the bristles and dry it. Whereas if you lay the brush like this with the head exposed, the air can kind of flow throughout the brush and dry a little bit quicker. Now if you really want to ensure that no water is going to get into the handle of your brush, you can also lay them like this, kind of against a wall onto a towel. And it probably is the best way to do it, honestly, because I've noticed that when I dry my brushes like this, the little patch where the head was sitting is always quite damp, which means that all the water has seeped out of the brush and onto the towel. If it's laying horizontally, some of the water will still make its way into the base just because it's laying flat and the water can kind of seep back into the handle. With that being said, I haven't experienced any problems with laying it horizontally, and it usually is what most people will do when it comes to washing their brushes. Some people also get sticky tape and they put sticky tape along this side of their brushes and they stick it to a wall so that the water literally drips out of the brush. Now I'll show you the next technique. So this is the same if you are using the Bobbi Brown one or the Palmolive one or whatever you normally use, but just for today's sake I'm going to use the Palmolive one. So I'm going to grab the little pan thing that we used before from the makeup store soap. You can honestly grab an old plate, anything. If you have a basin that has a little area for soap, you can place the soap in that little soap holder. But for now, I'm going to use this thing here because it's more convenient for me. I'm just going to let some of this drip into the pan. Oh, this smell reminds me of my childhood. It's the best smell. Good times. Alright, so we're just going to wash the brush, or drench the brush, like we did with the other ones. Make sure it's completely wet. And for this particular little demo, I'm going to be using the Sigma Brush Cleansing Glove. So this is a glove that is a rubber and it has all different textures all over the glove. So this side is for eyes because the little texture bits are quite small. This side is for the face because they're quite thick and big. So I'm just going to put this over my hand, and it's also really nice because it has a little like microfiber insert, and it's very soft and comfortable. I'm going to flip this over to the face side, which is this one here. Just going to wet the brush like this. Then I'm going to grab some of that soap and just dunk my brush in once, like that. And then I'm going to swirl the brush like this over the glove. Now if you want, you can use the little texture bits that correspond to each stage of the process, but I just normally swirl it over the whole thing because I'm not really too fussy and I just want to do it quickly and easily. So I'll swirl it like that, rinse the glove, and then do it all again, but this time you're actually rinsing out the soap. And you can also cut the glove like this to make a little puddle so that you can ensure that all of the soap is coming out. Once you finish washing it, you can use this little bit inside here to rinse out any of the excess water. Then I'm just going to dry the brush like we did before, give it a bit of a squeeze. So next is eye brushes. It's pretty much the exact same thing, except I've switched the glove over to the other more delicate side. And I'm just going to submerge the brushes, being very careful that you don't get water above the little silver thing here. Just wet the brushes very quickly. I wonder if you can see this. I'll put it here so you can see. Very quickly dunk the brushes in the soap and then just swirl them around like this. Then rinse them out. Eye brushes are the best because they're so easy to rinse off and clean. I'm going to use my fingers to squeeze out any of the excess water. Now as you can see, these brushes have completely lost their shape. There's little hairs fraying out and going all random directions, and once this dries they'll actually look even worse and it will just go crazy and they pretty much become unusable, or they lose their purpose, or they're not able to serve their purpose as well as they were before if they lose their natural shape. So that's where brush guards come in. So these little things here are called brush guards. I buy mine off eBay. I think you can buy like 1 meter, and then you just cut them into whatever shapes you want. So I've got some long ones that I've cut, and then I've got some really small ones for my eye brushes just over here. Literally all they are is just a bit of mesh that looks like this, and they're great because they maintain their shape, but they will stretch to fit your brushes, but they also allow the air to flow through the guard. So all you have to do is get the brush guard, place it over the edge of the brush, and then just simply feed it over the handle until you get to the head, where you just slide it over like this. And I like to leave a little bit at the end of the brush, so this little bit here, just to make sure that all of the hairs are perfectly slicked down. Next, I'm going to grab a smaller guard, place it over the base of the brush, feed it over the handle, and then pull it over the head like so. I'm actually not going to bother putting a brush guard on this particular brush here, or this one, or these two, because these brushes are all synthetic hair and they're not going to fray out of shape. Well, they haven't for me before anyway. If I put the brush guard on any of them, it would probably be this one here because it has that tapered shape. But in my experience, these brushes tend to maintain their shape pretty nicely anyway. Next thing I'm going to do is place my brushes near a window out of the sun. So just here on the right hand corner here, if I can show you, just here is my window. So I'm going to place the brushes along here and open the window so that the air is constantly flowing around my brushes because the window is right there, obviously. I do not recommend using a blow dryer or a hair dryer to dry your brushes. It's not good for your brushes at all. It's a lot better for your brushes for them to dry naturally. And when you're spending a lot of money on brushes, you may as well take the best care of them that you can. So here are some that I prepared earlier. These are just ones that I washed last night, so I thought I would show you how they look. This is the Sigma Large Angled Contour Brush, and if this loses its shape, it's completely useless because it's meant to have a particular shape to help with contouring and applying blush. So I'm just going to remove the little brush guard, and of course remove it in the direction that you put the guard on, which is this way. And that is how it looks, which is the perfect shape for this brush. And this is awesome because this is the shape that the brush comes in when you buy it pretty much, and there's no little hairs fraying out anywhere. It's not all fat and, you know, just weirdly shaped. It's perfect shape. Another question I get asked a lot is how often I wash my brushes. Honestly, I don't have a particular day or time frame that I wash them in. I wash them whenever I feel like they need a wash, and that may be, you know, once or twice every couple of weeks. It's probably about once every couple of weeks because I spot clean my brushes using either the Cosmetica by Manicare brush cleanser or the MAC brush cleanser. So I do spot clean between uses of my brushes, especially my foundation brushes. Every single time I use a foundation brush, I will wash it or clean it, like spot clean it with these two things. Powder brushes I don't do as often because powder, it's much harder for bacteria to grow on powder brushes because powder is dry, whereas foundation is a liquid and it's wet, so bacteria can grow quite easily on that. And with my eye brushes, I will use them as well. So that's why I don't wash my brushes incredibly often, because I'm always spot cleaning them, so they're always sanitized. And yeah, if I was never spot cleaning my brushes, I would probably wash them, you know, a couple times a week. So it just depends on what kind of spot cleaning you do, which I would strongly recommend, because if you have breakouts and then you have dirty brushes, it's just a really bad combination. But anyway, I hope this video has been really helpful. If you have any more questions, please leave them down below. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe to this channel because it's not my main channel, and I will see you guys all again soon. Bye!